Wellness, and today we're going to do a class working on spinal flexibility and flexion and extension, and also releasing a little bit. So the tools that you'll need for today will be a TheraBand, and it's not necessary, but if you're new and just starting, this will be handy when we get to our roll downs to help with our roll downs, and that's the only thing we'll be using it for. We're also using a spiky massage ball, and you don't have to have this. You could use like a tennis ball, or you can just use your hand. I'll show you both techniques. I have a yoga blanket, a Mexican blanket folded up. You could also use a towel or a pillow. Again, just if you're going to need a little extra support for the head and neck when we're in lying positions, but it's not going to be used very much. And then a foam roller. So I'm going to use this shorter foam roller, but you could also definitely use the longer one also, because we're just going to use it to kind of roll the back out before we get into movement. So I like to stretch out and do some release work before going into all that movement. So that's why I have the spiky massage ball. So what we're going to do with it is we're just going to roll. We can use it to roll across the chest. We can use it to roll down the arms, across the stomach, the belly. If you can reach the back, you can go against the back. But you could also just use your hand and just barely kind of tap or even squeeze out. So just trying to bring some proprioceptions, just kind of bringing some awareness to the tissue that you're getting ready to move and to relax, especially into the upper shoulders and neck. Just kind of giving it a little squeeze, almost like a sponge, like you're squeezing water into it and squeezing water out. We're letting water soak up and then squeezing it out. Same thing, you can tap across. You could even, now that we have our hands and we're using it, do definitely go along the back. So sacrum, all the way up the spine, get into the kidneys and adrenal area, just kind of waking everything up. Also the hips, because, when we go into this movement, we need some flexibility there in the hips. So tap out the hips a little bit. All right, so from there, you can get rid of your massage ball if you had it. I'm going to put the blanket out of the way, and we're going to grab our foam roller. So again, whichever one you have, it's going to go widthwise on your mat, and you'll bring it right into your mid-back. So right at the tip of the shoulders, about bra line area for the women. And from here, just bring the hands back behind the back of the head. And just go ahead and first just take a small arch just to see where your flexibility is at the moment. And then chin's going to tuck towards the chest, spinal lengthen, front ribs roll down and into the back ribs to bring you back up. And then from here, I want you to just lift your hips a little bit. We have to activate those hamstrings, activate the core, and we're going to roll from the mid-back to the top of the shoulders. Just not rolling onto the neck. And just noticing as you roll any tight areas that you feel. You can always kind of pause on some of those areas. You can also kind of shift your weight more, over to one side. Just rolling this out and getting it to, be a little bit more flexible for when we get ready to move. And then I always like to come back after that, after doing a few, and then try and see how far, if you gain any flexibility. So you can arc back, and then from there, spinal lengthen, head nods forward, front ribs roll to bring us back up. Good. And then just go ahead and roll it down and bring it right behind the back of the head. We'll just do a little bit, not very much, of rolling the occipital base. So bring it into the neck and then kind of roll it back until the base of the skull is on the roller. And then from here, very slowly, just take a little nod over to one side. Let your shoulders relax. It's, if there's tension there, the shoulders might tense up. So just move slowly and remember to breathe. So you don't want to move too quick when you are rolling the neck area out. So I like to take usually a breath at the top and then exhale as I slowly roll along that base of the skull. I'm going to the right. And then I like to take a breath in when I get to that side and then slowly exhale and bring it back to center. Same thing, take a breath in and then exhale, slowly rolling to that left side. Relaxing the shoulders, letting everything melt. And then once you get there, take a breath in and then exhale and slowly roll it back to center again. And we're just going to do a few for today, not a ton. So from there, we can roll over, bring ourselves up. You put your roller out of the way, and now we're going to grab onto our TheraBand. So our TheraBand is going to go across the bottom of the feet, and you want to make sure that you have a good hold of the TheraBand across the feet. So you don't want it too high up on the feet that if you flex too much, it's going to snap back and hit you. So you want to make sure, that you have a good hold of the band across the feet. So this is to help support you in your roll down. So you can just hold on to it, or sometimes I like to kind of wrap my hands around it, and we're going to sit up nice and tall. Now, if sitting up tall is a little bit of a challenge because say the hamstrings are tight, you can bend the knees a little bit to just release the hamstrings so you can get up nice and tall on your sit bones. And then from here, we'll take a breath in and we'll hinge a little bit first. This just helps and allows our femur heads to be positioned correctly in the hip. So then when we start tipping our pelvis back, our pelvis is going to tip back first. We're drawing that low belly in and up, and think of lengthening as much in the spine as in the front of the body. So even though we're going into this curl, we're not collapsing in the front of the body. We're still lengthening into this curve. Our shoulders stay down, they don't ride up. We slowly bring everything down into our mat. Once we get down there, we'll take a breath in. And then on our exhale, our chin nods, we look towards our toes. Arms are just going to stay by the side, and we open up the spaces and bring the spaces in between the vertebrae back up. So this is one of those places, this is a place, if you need to, you can have your pillow or rolled up towel or your blanket. And that's just going to be for the head when it comes down, to support the head. You can adjust your band as necessary, but here we hinge back, and then on our exhale, we tip the pelvis back and start thinking of opening up all those spaces in between the vertebra and lying the spaces in the vertebra down onto the mat, space by space. So it's like you open up each vertebra and lay the space down, open up the next set, lay the space down, just elongating and bringing some decompression into the spine. Good. And again, take a breath in, find length. We peek out and look at the toes. And then exhale, we slowly peel our back off. I like to kind of think of it like one of those fruit roll-ups. You know how you peel it off of the paper? We're peeling our back off of the mat. And again, we sit up, nice deep breath in, hinge, and then on our exhale, tip the hip and pelvis first. And so, you know, you can also, if it's very easy, one, you can release some of your band, or two, you can just let go of the band totally and roll down. So the band just helps give you some assistance, especially when you're first starting. If you don't have it, then you can reach overhead, take a little stretch here on the inhale. Float the arms up, roll and peek out of the toes, and exhale, rolling back up. Good. We're going to do this one more time. This time we'll stay down there. So take a breath in, hinge, exhale, rolling down. Opening up the spaces, filling the spaces in between the vertebrae. Open and light onto the mat. Good. Once we get down there this time, if your towel is small or your blanket is small and doesn't lift your head a lot, you can leave it for this next one. Otherwise, you'll want to move it because we don't want our head lifted when we go into bridging. We're going to go ahead and move this one out of the way. Arms are going to come long by the side. We're going into bridge. So feet come in towards us. Heels are underneath the hips or underneath the knees. Toes are going straight ahead. So you don't want your feet way out here when you're doing your bridging. It's going to be a lot more pull on your hamstrings. It's going to give you enough on your hamstrings already. So arms long by the side. Sink your feet down into the mat. Feel the feet get real heavy and the hips get lighter. And we float the hips up. Thinking of yawning and opening the front of the hips. Our front ribs stay nice and soft. And then on our exhale, we're going to slowly roll the spine, space by space, back down. And once we get down to the bottom, we'll take a breath in again. And then exhale, our hips will float. Our front ribs are soft. The front of the hips open. Our knees are stretching away from us. And then take a breath into the back. Feel the back really expand. And then on our exhale, again, we slowly roll ourselves back down, opening the spaces in between the vertebrae as we lower. So we're going to add the arms into this. So we're going to float our fingertips up. We'll take a breath in. Feet sink. Exhale. As the hips float up, we're going to reach our arms over this time. Good. Inhale into the back. Shoulders are soft. And then deep exhale, slowly again, lengthening and lowering. Seeing how much space we can bring into each vertebra as we lie down. Trying to have the tip of the tail be the very last thing that touches. Good. And float the arms. Breath in. And exhale, hips float. Arms float. Shoulders soften. Feet are sinking into the mat, so make sure that all parts of the foot, other than your arch, all your points are supposed to be connected in are, that you're not rolling out onto the side of the feet. And then again, on your next exhale, slowly roll the spine back down. last one. Actually, we're going to add on something here to this one. So we'll probably have about 3 more. So take a breath in, feet sink. Exhale, hips float, arms reach over. Shoulders are soft. So, you know, if your shoulders are really tight, this might be challenging to float the arms over. You can always let your elbows bend a little bit, or you just keep your fingertips up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to roll the spine down 2 spaces and pause. And then from there, like a typewriter, we're going to shift the right to the right side, but we're going to keep our knees reaching straight ahead. We'll come back to center, and again, we'll shift now to the left side. We'll come back to center. We're going to roll down 2 more spaces. So another thing you could do is you could place your hands on your hip bones to make sure you can feel them glide and not rotate. So as you glide to the right and left hip bones should stay equal. As you glide to the left, same thing. But you might notice that one hip bone tries to reach up into your hand. And then from here, roll down 2 more spaces, same thing. We shift right, back to center. You're also going to find that each side's a little different. One side might be a little stickier than the other. And back to center, and then roll the rest of the way back down. We're going to do that again, and this time we'll go left first, and then right. So take a breath in, sink the feet, and then exhale, float the hips. And my hips are nice and level right now. If I had a level across my hips, the bubble will be right in the middle. I'm going to lengthen and lay 2 spaces down. And now I'm going to shift left first. So I shift left. I come back to center. I shift to the right. Much easier on me. Back to center. Now I'm going to roll down. So I'm lengthening and laying 2 more spaces down. Now I'm going to shift left first. And center. And right. And center. And then 2 more spaces. Also, don't forget to breathe. So breathing, it doesn't matter which way you inhale or exhale as long as you breathe. You can play with the breath and see what works best for you, and then roll all the way back down. So we're going to do 1 more straight down the middle just to even everything out. So fingertips are going to be up towards the ceiling. Take a nice deep breath in. Sink the feet. Exhale, float the hips, float the arms. Find that length and that expansion on your in-breath in the back. And then on your exhale, lengthen and lower the spaces. Shoulders stay soft. Really opening up those spaces in the vertebra as we come back down. Nice. So arms are going to go out to the side into a T. So you'll be on your floor, so your arms have support. From here, we're going to let our knees drop to the right. We're going to look to the left. So just creating some spinal rotation. On our exhale, I want you to think of your left ribs, left hip being drawn back and down into the mat to float the knees back up. Good. And then we let our knees drop to the left. We can look to the right. And then on your exhale, reach the right rib cage, right hip back and down into the mat to float the knees. Good. Breath in. Exhale, knees drop right. Look to left. Think about on your inhale, really inflating those left ribs, that left side. And then on your exhale, you're going to reach that left side rib, left hip back and down into the mat. Good. Now we drop the knees to the left. We take a breath into the right ribs. And then exhale, reach the right rib, right hip back and into the mat to bring it back up. We're going to add a little, another little extra here. So take a breath in. Exhale, we're going to let the knees drop to the right. We're going to reach our right hand up and reach it towards the left. but keep your shoulder down. So don't let the shoulder right up into the ear. So we're just reaching it as we look to the left. And then draw everything back to the mat and come back. Now on our next exhale, we'll drop the knees to the left. We'll float our left arm up and reach it and gaze towards the right. Next exhale, that left shoulder reaches into the mat, the right ribs reach down into the mat, we bring everything back to center. We're going to do one more each side. So knees drop to the right, right arm reaches up, right shoulder stays down as we reach across. Inhale and exhale, draw everything back to center. Good. And again, we drop to the left, left arm floats up and reaches over, shoulder stays down. So we're getting all this nice rotation and spiraling in the spine. And exhale, bring it all back to center. Good. Relax everything down. And then from here, bring your knees into your chest. We're going to pull the knees to the chest. You're going to press the hands into the thighs, thighs into the hands. I want you to peek up and look into the belly. And just start kind of, exhale, pull this in. So pull your stomach in. So it's that push-pull of the thighs. So I'm not flippering with my legs. I'm keeping my lower leg still. It's this push of my hand and my thighs towards each other. And the look into my belly that creates a round spine to roll me up. So our spine goes where our eyes go. So if we look out in front of us and now I try to roll, I'm going to clunk on the mat. So I want to really look into my stomach and find that rounded spine and then slowly roll back. I like to use an inhale to go back and exhale to bring me back up. And just do one more. Good. And then once you get up, sit up nice and tall. Our feet are now, our legs are going to go the width of our mat. You can move the flesh away from your sit bones so that you can sit up nice and tall. Our knees can be a little big, especially if you have tight hamstrings. And then from here, we're actually going to reach our arms and circle them back and bring our fingertips back behind us. So we're sitting up nice and tall. Our feet are flexed a little. We'll take a breath in, and then on our exhale, we nod the head forward. We feel the upper spine start opening and curling. So think of it kind of like a candy cane curling over. Our mid back, we're going to stay on our sit bones as we curl down. And then circle your arms around and towards your toes. Take a breath into the back body, feel the back expanding, just fan open a little bit more. And then on our exhale, we slowly lengthen and stack the spine all the way back up. Good. Breath in. And then circle our arms. We nod our head forward. We feel the upper vertebra open. The mid back. So finding those spaces opening like we did when we were rolling down and when we were doing our bridge. We're staying on our sit bones. And then we're circling our arms around towards the toes. And then on our exhale, we draw the low belly in and up. And we stack ourselves back up. Like you're stacking your back up the wall behind you. To circle the arms, we're going to add on a nice little nugget here on this next one. Breath in, nod the head, And the fingers are just dragging along behind you as your head goes forward. As the spine rounds, we're going to circle around, find the hands onto the shins. From here, I want you to kind of press your hands down into your legs, pull back a little bit until you can feel your mid-back reach through your chest brighten in front of you, and we come into back extension. So we went from back flexion to back extension. So this is where you might have to also bend your knees up a little bit to extend. From here, I want you to bring your arms up alongside your body and then press the front and the back of the body towards each other and bring yourself up tall. Circle your arms back behind again. Good. Nod the head, slowly curling forward. Really opening up the spaces. Circle the arms around. Grab your shins. Bend your knees if you need to. Reach that mid-back through the chest. Brighten the chest in front of you. So it's like a ray of sunshine coming out your chest, or like you're smiling across the chest. Bring your arms up, keeping that extension. And then sit up nice and tall. Good. Bring your arms down along your side. Actually, we're going to bring fingertips, if you can see, to the shoulders. And then from here, knees are going to stay a little bit so you can stay up. And we're going to rotate. Take a breath in. Actually, we're going to inhale as we rotate to the right. And then we're going to exhale and let it kind of rebound back or spring back. So we inhale, we are kind of coiling our spring around. And then on our exhale, we release. So here you can also bring the feet together so that you can make sure that your hips stay square. So make sure the feet stay together and one doesn't reach further than the other as we rotate. So we're going to sit up tall. Knees can be a little bent if you need. We're going to inhale, spiraling up and around. Inhale, spiraling up and around. And then exhale, we come back to center. So both hips stay sinking into our mat. So we inhale, rotate, shoulders stay relaxed, and we exhale back to center. If I was to turn towards you, of course your legs are going to be out. I think I can do that here. Let's see, I'll slide back. So I'm going to inhale, exhale. My feet stay perfectly still. We inhale, lengthen up, inhale, spiral, inhale, and back around. Let's do one more each side. You could also, as you advance, take your arms out long. So it's like a little sprinkler. Float your arms down. You're still going to have legs. Actually, we're going to go to more of your mat distance. And this one's going to be a side bend. So we're going to let our right hand fall down onto the mat. Our left hand's going to reach up and over. Our right elbow bends, but we're also kind of pushing into that right hand a little bit so we don't collapse into the right side. And then you can kind of just spring back up and into center. So we drop the left hand down. The right hand's going to reach up. We fan open the ribs. We bend the left elbow, but we're pushing a little bit, if you can see, so that this gets a little opening also. Our shoulder stays down. And then when we're ready, it's almost like we spring back up. I'm going to move my feet out of the way now so that you can see. Right hand comes down, left hand comes over, and then we spring back up. Good. This way, my left hand comes down. My elbow's going to bend in as I side bend up and over. And then back up. Good. Release. Last thing we're going to do is go onto our stomachs for a little bit of back extension. So roll onto your tummy. So here, too, if you're kind of tight in the hips, you could always use a blanket or a towel in your hip crease. So what that would look like, I can find right through my blanket. You could take your blanket or your towel. There's going to be a folded edge here. That's going to go back behind me, and my hips are going to go on this crease. Just to kind of give a little bit of opening to my hips right there. My arms are going to come along by my side. My elbows are into my side. Forehead is down. I'm going to reach my elbows, my forearms down into the mat, and think of it almost like I'm dragging myself forward. As I do that, my shoulders slide down, my spine starts lengthening, my shoulder blades are going to reach away from my ears are going to reach away from my shoulders, and I start feeling length in my spine out through the crown of my head. So this move is more about how long can I get my spine, not how big I can go. Because when we come way up here, if you can see now, my low back is getting compressed. So it's more about length versus height. So I want you to find more length versus height. And then exhale, gently lay back down. So nothing fancy, just a simple back extension today. So forearms press down, elbows reach back, shoulders slide back. We brighten across the front of the chest as we extend out and up. Think of lifting the tissue of your belly and feel how that supports the back. Might even turn on the back core muscles. And then we lower back down. Good. And again, inhale, shoulders slide down. It's almost like you're pulling yourself across the floor, feeling all those spaces open up in between the vertebrae as you extend. Belly's lifting. We're not gripping in the glutes. So if you find a tendency to like really grip into your butt, then let your legs fall out more into an inward rotation. And then lower down. Good, one more. Shoulders slide down, chest brightens, neck lengthens. And with control, we lower back down. From here, bring your hands underneath your forehead. Lay your forehead onto your hands. Rock your hips a little bit side to side. So the thing that we're going to add on here is I want you to lengthen your legs back behind you, kind of in a hip distance parallel position. And then right here from the top of your hamstring, right where the hamstring pulls into the glute, you're going to float your legs. So again, this isn't about how high you can go, because if you go too high, you're going to tighten into your back, you're going to recruit the wrong muscles. So hamstring draws into the glute, we're just hovering the legs off. And then we gently set them back down. So again, nice deep breath in, start feeling that muscle draw in and up. And then exhale, the belly lifts at the same time we float our legs. That's another indication. If you lift your legs too high, it's going to tip your pelvis forward and force your stomach more down into the mat. So thinking of lifting your low belly fibers at the same time that you're floating the legs. So if I was to kind of flex my feet, I can feel the mat underneath me. And lower back down. Good, we're going to do this one. We'll just do 2 more times for today. So top of the hamstring draws into that glute fold. Both hip bones are equally weighted. We float the legs. And then we gently lie them back down. One more time. So this is going to eventually, it can eventually move us into our Superman or our swimming, which we're not doing today, but that's where we're headed. And then release everything. Kind of shake it all out. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up and sit back into rest. So this is another position sometimes for some people. The flexibility makes it kind of challenging to go into this rest position. So a few things you could do here. You already have your blanket with you. You can fold it up and just place it between your thighs and your calves just to help with that flexibility issue. Just to bring the floor a little bit further up to you. Just taking a few good breaths, letting everything kind of release and relax. And then on your exhale, I want you to think of starting from your tailbone. So let the tail drip. And then we'll slowly stack our spine. We're thinking of those spaces that we found earlier. Think of them floating you up. One floats back and on top of it, one below it, until you're all the way stacked up. Good. So that is our lesson for today. That was a little bit of spine flexibility and extension. Enjoy. If you have any questions, email them or send them to us. If you're concerned about your positioning any of it, just video yourself and shoot it to us, and we'll give you some feedback. See you next time. Bye-bye.